We are just 20 days away from the opener between the Cowboys and Eagles. Good morning. I am Dan Graziano.
Oh, yeah.
In for Greeny.
Yeah. Cross Friday.
Trying not to break anything. We got a football Friday this morning. We got Dominique Foxworth making some whooping noises. We got Damian Woody. We got Mike Tannenbaum, and we are ready to roll. Our guys are fired up for another weekend of preseason football. So that's how we're going to start. What are you fired up to watch this weekend, Neek?
I'm looking forward to Cameron Ward down in Tennessee. I think we've seen a couple quarterbacks in the last season step in and make their teams great. And we're talking about C.J. Stroud and obviously what Jaden Daniels did last year. I know it's asking a lot for it to happen 3 years in a row, but I think Cam Ward has the talent to be able to turn this team around.
First pick in the draft on display this weekend. What are you fired up to watch, Mike T?
Jackson Dart versus the Jets, Dan, right across the river here at MetLife. He played great against Buffalo. Looking at this from last week, 2 touchdowns, 159 yards. Remember, he was a great athlete, 12 rushing touchdowns at Ole Miss. Go win the job, Jackson. Russell Wilson had a great career. He's on the back nine. Go get the job, play well against the Jets.
Mike T's retiring. Russell Wilson. D. Wood, what are you fired up to watch this weekend?
I'm looking forward to Caleb Williams versus the Buffalo Bills. New head coach Ben Johnson. He chose this job in Chicago primarily because of that young man we're seeing right there, Caleb Williams. How comfortable will he look inside this new offense with all the toys that he has at his disposal?
All right, let's start there because this is obviously a big story, right? With Ben Johnson coming in as a new head coach, mission to get Caleb Williams, the #1 pick in last year's draft, on track. I sometimes think putting these games on TV can be a disservice, right? Because they're putting something together in Washington, and we've heard kind of mixed reports coming out of camp. So what happens if he goes out and struggles?
I mean, I think we all get a little bit more concerned. And to your point, these are practice games. We wouldn't lose our mind if he had a bad practice. But if he goes out and has a bad showing in this game, it'll be our first time getting to look at him in a new offense. And we expect that this offense is supposed to make everything easier for him. If he struggles in a situation where the training wheels are on, which you would expect them to be in the preseason, and you're looking at defenses that may run 1 or 2 fire zones, but they're not running sophisticated, complicated, specifically game plan blitzes, you expect Caleb Williams to be in control and on time. And if he doesn't do that, I think people do get concerned.
He's in a tough spot because Jaden Daniels has this monster rookie season, right? And Bo Nix has a good rookie. And Caleb still seems like he's putting it together, now already on his second coach. But he was the first pick. Bears didn't look at any other quarterbacks when they had that pick last year. I think people sometimes can forget why. Can you refresh people's memories, Mike T, about why he was the first pick in the first place?
Absolutely, Dan. We have a tape to look at. He's a guy that has all the athleticism and arm strength. First play here, this is against UCLA. Look at his eye level down the field. And this is a throw that not many people on the planet can make. Look how accurate that ball is, 60 yards down the field. That's why the Bears didn't look at anybody else. This is the play against Stanford. I love the athleticism and the toughness here, the balance. I don't love the ball security. Right. And then look how he finishes the run into the end zone. That's somebody that has all the skill sets to be a winning quarterback at the NFL level. Now we have to see it, starting this weekend.
All the skill, all the talent. We know why the Bears took him #1. So what has to happen for Ben Johnson to come in there and get the most out of him?
I think like with any young quarterback, you got to give him easy completion, easy throws to get him kind of in the groove of this offense. Remember, we're talking about Ben Johnson. He's basically deconstructing Caleb Williams from a lot of the poor habits or some of the things that he didn't do at USC and building him back up. And so in the process of doing that, what you want this young man to be comfortable so he can build upon that as long as he's in the game. So I look for screens, pass plays over the middle, things that easy completions for a young quarterback.
They have built a solid group around him. We know they beefed up the interior of the offensive line. He was not their only first-round pick last year. Rome Odunze, the wide receiver, they drafted a tight end in the top 10 this year. Like, what are you looking to see in terms of his connection with the guys he was working with last year, maybe Odunze in particular?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's going to be a heavy play action situation in offense, and I think playing quarterback is a lot about making decisions. And for Caleb, the decision should be to get rid of the ball quickly to all of these playmakers. And understanding the tape that Mike T showed is the reason why people want Caleb Williams to be their quarterback. But the things that we have questions about is, can he run this offense or make decisions when to pull out those magic tricks, because sometimes trying to make every play into a home run, not taking the 3-4 yard pass or taking the easy decision, that's the scary part for a guy with that level of talent.
Yeah, and in terms of a Dunze or even Colston Loveland, you can look at what Nico Collins has done for C.J. Stroud. Young quarterbacks love big catching radius, and those two guys in particular, to your point, get rid of the ball. 68 sacks, way too many. Get the ball in your hands, get it to those big receivers, and as you mentioned, D-Wood, those should be easy completions.
The work they did adding to that interior of that offensive line, a big deal for him too, right?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, the one thing, Ben Johnson comes from the Lions. What do the Lions do? They want to run the football, establish a line of scrimmage, play action off of that. So as much as we talk about Caleb Williams, my eyes are also going to be on this offensive line, especially the interior of it, because, I always said, sacks aren't just on the quarterback. Sacks are obviously offensive line related. And so I want to see how that, between the quarterback and the offensive line, see how those two groups are playing together. It's easier to go from Joe Flacco to Shedeur than start out with Shedeur, and then he struggles, then you move on because you risk losing the young man as far as confidence is concerned. But at the end of the day, he's still the fourth-string quarterback on the depth chart for the Cleveland Browns. And so any day that you miss is an opportunity for someone else to capitalize on that. Dylan Gabriel is coming back from injury. What if Dylan Gabriel goes out there and plays well? Dylan Gabriel was the third-round pick. He got picked 2 rounds higher than Shedeur Sanders. And so when you're missing time in the preseason and you're already splitting up snaps with 3 other quarterbacks, that is not a good thing.
Totally agree. We were just looking at that footage, Graz, and Shedeur Sanders played really well last week. Hard stop. He played some of these throws he made, these 2 touchdown passes, those are layered NFL throws. He led the nation in completion percentage, and he's showing a reason why. This injury is awful because it's interrupting the momentum. You guys know we are in the ultimate meritocracy. He earned more reps this week. He probably would have played more, and it's really too bad. I totally disagree with Chris Canty relative to how it could have played out. I'm not saying he would have started opening day, but obviously he's going to be on the team. But just in terms of where he is on the depth chart, this injury is a setback.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like Canty had almost as good a chance to start week 1 as Shedeur for the Browns based on the way things have gone. But, I mean, when he gets hurt at this time of camp, what does that mean for him?
Well, I mean, we keep saying he's a 5th-round pick, which is right, but, we have to understand that he's a different type of 5th-round pick. He is a 5th-round pick who's going to get a chance to start at some point this season. I think we all will be shocked. And I understand if you're a 5th-round pick, you want to keep going out there and keep getting better and keep moving up the depth chart. I'm sure he would love that. But I do agree with you guys. The idea that him not wanting to start at any point, I get where the big dog Chris Canty is coming from, but I don't agree with it. I think you want to get out there as soon as possible, play as well as you can as soon as possible, because I think for the Browns, their expectation right now is probably to use one of their 2 first-round picks or package those 2 next year to move up in the draft. You have to start changing their mind. I don't think that they are committed to any quarterback that's in that building right now. So the sooner you can get out there to change their mind, the better off you'll be.
To that point, and to D. Wood's question, what if Dylan Gabriel has a big game this weekend? I mean, does he start to become a consideration for them?
Yeah, possibly. And look, Dylan Gabriel is a really good college player, but when you look at it from a height and athletic standpoint, it's really bucking the odds. And look, he could play great, and hopefully he does for him. But realistically, Shedeur Sanders has dramatically more ability. He's built for the NFL. And look, Dylan Gabriel could be a developmental guy, and we'll see how he does, this weekend. But to me, going to Nick's point, the likelihood of a quarterback evolving from this year's draft would be Shedeur Sanders.
It feels like, based on the way this has gone with the injuries and everything in camp, that Joe Flacco is likely to open the season as the starter. It's a tough open to the season. I mean, they opened with the Bengals, they got the Ravens, they got the Packers. It's a tough one. But at some point, you expect we'll see all these guys as they kind of work their way through the depth chart and figure out what it is that they actually have?
Yeah, no, listen, I think Nick touched upon it. At some point, you're going to play one of these young guys, particularly, I think a guy like Shedeur Sanders, because you have 2 first-round picks in 2026. Yeah. You need to see if one of these 2 guys could be the guy, because I think those 2 first-round picks become even more valuable if you have the quarterback in the building.
Yeah, and to D. Wood's point, if I'm Andrew Berry, the GM of the Browns, I'm telling that to Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Here's the answers to the test. Make us convinced that we can take those 2 ones, package them, whatever, pass rusher, offensive lineman, Go earn the job each and every day to make our decision easy in 2026.
And then we're building a team around you as opposed to finding your replacement. Should be a fascinating season. The Steelers announced yesterday that Aaron Rodgers will not play this weekend against the Bucs. If I were to say that that is a mistake, that Rodgers sitting out the preseason is a mistake, what would D. Fox say?
Yeah, I would agree with you. Like, he set out last year's preseason, and it didn't turn out well. But I also think that, like, he's in a new situation. The new offensive line and new receivers, new everything. The idea that you don't want to get any practice runs and get out there and go through the motions at least once or twice. Like, I know that he knows how to play football. That's not the question. It just doesn't seem like it hurts you to go out for a series or two and figure some things out.
What do you think?
You know, in the production meeting, I'm like, do I want a 41-year-old? Hell yeah. You know what? He needs to be out there.
Oh.
Like, I don't know how, like, it
Change
seems
your
like
mind.
every year, Aaron Rodgers kind of avoid the preseason. Get his behind out there. He needs to play with all the other guys since he wasn't there this offseason.
Especially this year, guys, because you have 3 offensive linemen in their second year. You have a rookie running back in Caleb Johnson you're counting on. What's going to happen with his pass protection? Who's their second receiver? You have a lot more questions than answers. And, Meek, you nailed it. Aaron Rodgers knows how to play football. But in this group of skilled players, they need reps. He wasn't there for the offseason.
Bros, literally, I don't want my dress rehearsal to be week 1.
Against the Jet defense.
Yeah, I don't want that to happen.
And I guess I also don't understand the reason why you wouldn't put him out there. If it's to protect him from injury, like, we got 17 more games to go, guys. Like, if one series is a concern, then I'm really more concerned about Aaron Rodgers than anybody else.
It seems like the Steelers are sitting most, if not all, of their starters. When you make a plan for how to, who plays in the preseason, that comes into it as well, right?
Yeah, context is everything, though. Like, when we're talking to Aaron Rodgers, again, presumably going back to March, guys, remember, sitting there in the draft, they could have taken a quarterback in the first round, Jackson Dart, Shedeur Sanders, whomever. So clearly Aaron Rodgers was in the plan. So, Dan, to answer your question, they should have said, hey, you're going to be here for this part of the offseason program. We're going to get you into 2 or 3 series in the preseason, whatever it may be. So TJ Watt doesn't need reps. Like, it's not, context is everything here. Again, you have so many new skill players. They need meaningful reps. That Jet defense on opening day, that is not the first time you want to be out there.
How much of it is like a new system? Obviously, he's played a lot of football, but this is different from what he's been in. Does he need time to drill that, or is practice enough?
No, he needs time. Like, this is not the Nathaniel Hackett system that he's been running, with the Jets and with Green Bay. This is a different deal. This is not his offense like he's been, having with the Jets. So he needs time with the offensive line, skill position players. Again, he wasn't there this offseason.
If it doesn't look like the Jets offense from last year, I could argue that that's a good thing.
That's a great
but I
point.
mean, like, how do you see this working with Aaron Rodgers, Arthur Smith, and that crew they have there?
Yeah, I mean, there are going to be some growing pains, and that's why I think we all argue for a little bit of preseason, because maybe you can knock a little bit of the growing pains out of the way early, but there are going to be some challenges. Anytime you have this many new people in a new situation, there are going to be some challenges. So I think it comes together towards the end of the season for them, because I think they don't ask a whole lot. As long as they can, have some semblance of effective running game, I think things get a lot easier.
I think to that point, a key name, guys, is Caleb Johnson, 3rd-round running back from Iowa. He is somebody that I thought was going to get drafted higher, really good outside zone runner. If he's productive for this guy, for this offense, it'll make Aaron Rodgers' life a lot easier. He's a great fit with what Arthur Smith wants to do, multiple tight ends. So to me, this is the real X factor. If they get him going, especially early, that'll buy time for this offense to come together.
I think he's a guy you probably will see in the preseason, because he needs those. They have Jalen Warren in front of him. They have Kenny Gainwell, who was with the Eagles. So there's an interesting running back room, but they're looking at the rookie for maybe some big year 1 production. Lots more to come. It does feel very stuck, right? Like something has to change. What would have to change to move this situation forward?
Well, I think Dallas would really have to feel like he's going to miss a lot of games. And just again, for the audience, he's going to have to be there for at least 6 games to get credit towards free agency. But if we go back to Jalen Ramsey in Jacksonville, where he basically held in, manufactured an injury, forced a trade to the Rams, and the rest is history. So to me, if we were running the Cowboys, guys, he's a great young player. We would never consider trading him unless we really felt like he was going to miss most of the season and withhold his services. Short of that, Graz, I think you just have to be patient and wait it out.
Well, sure, but there is a game, right, in 20 days, and it's against the Eagles. It's a game they have to win. He's their best player. Like, even if he's signed, next week, is that enough time for him to get get ready to play in the opener?
Yeah, my guess is it's probably enough time for Micah Parsons to be really effective. But I think what would happen is we start to get concerned about injury risk, right? And I think the closer we get to the season, the more likely it is that a smart team will be like, all right, well, we'll push it back even if he does sign. So I don't quite understand how we've gotten to this situation, and none of us, I mean, all the usual reasons for us getting here don't seem to add up. This is not the type of player or the type of situation that we end up like this. So I think there's more going on that we don't understand.
Yeah, indeed, to that point, we had that with Darrelle Revis. We had a holdout, we got him signed, and then he went out and got hurt against the Patriots, and it was so deflating. So it's really something they have to be thinking about.
That does happen. I mean, these situations, even when they get resolved, there's still some leftover bad blood, and you know, what we're talking about in terms of the injury risk. Like, what do the next couple weeks look like here?
Yeah, listen, I think there's got to be some type of deadline here where if you don't sign the player, that he's not available for week one. Again, these guys have touched upon it. There's nothing like there's only one way to get into football shape, and that's play football. If you're not out there practicing with the pads on, even if you sign a contract, you run the risk of getting injured. And so there has to be some type of hard deadline between the Cowboys and Micah Parsons. Say, look, if we don't get this thing resolved by this time, you're not going to be available for week one against the Philadelphia Eagles.
What's the date where, like, if we don't get this resolved by this time, we actually change our minds, start thinking about trading you? Like, when does that happen?
Oh, I mean, you know, once you start missing games, now you're in a different territory because, you know, you're withholding your services. You're not available for the team. At that point, now this whole thing is escalated to the point where all options have to be on the table for the Dallas Cowboys.
So, all right, so they have said repeatedly that's not going to happen. He's under contract. They can franchise him next year, franchise him the year after, excuse me.